Yeah.
Is it true?
Listen, this is more true here. I want him to go to school to learn the work. It will make my life easy.
Yeah. There's something a little off about that. Unless you've been honest with him. Like, you could say, sweetheart, I want you to go to the school because I find you totally unacceptable. If you go to the school, my life would be better.
Yeah.
And would you please do that for me?
Right.
And then he says yes or no.
Oh, he called me you following cult.
Well, he could be right if two people agreeing is your definition of a cult. You're in his cult. He doesn't want you to change cults. Your husband should come to school, to the 9-day school. Can you absolutely know that that's true?
No, I know that. But I want to control his life.
But what?
I want to be dictator, and I want to fix him.
Yes. So you're already answering question 3 before I could get there. How do you treat him? How do you react when you think the thought, I want him to come to the school, and he says no in every way he knows how to say it?
I try to manipulate him, and I angry at him.
So you begin to understand why he doesn't want to come to the school? You went for 9 days and you're all over him. In the name of love.
Yeah.
Love kills.
It seems like the only thing I know is how to do war. And I don't
Sweetheart,
like
it's the beginning. You know, you just met the work, what, just
2 months ago.
2 months ago. You're a baby.
Well, I want to be just like you.
Well, you are, it's just there are a few concepts in between you and that to take a look at. So who would you be at home without the thought, I want my husband to come to the school? Who would you be living at home with your husband without the thought, I want him to come to the school?
Yeah, I have that moments when I do the right thing, like going to the morning walk and come home and very peaceful, calm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's who you are when you're not wanting. And using your husband for happiness when you already know how to have it without him.
But I want easy way.
You know, if I think my husband should come to the school, I need to come to the school.
Yeah.
That's how it is. Yeah. If I think my children should come to this school, I need to get back in school. All I can say is the truth. I would love that you come to the school. I got so much out of it, and I want to share that with you. And if you are ever interested in that, let me know. And then the rest, you know, is just what you need to work with. You got the truth. It doesn't get any better than that.
Who would you be without the thought?
We begin to lose our identity. I invite you just to notice, not move away, just burn and stay in it. Just stay in it. This is your life we're talking about. This is the end of hate and fear and the beginning of love. So your brother was killed in Afghanistan? Can you absolutely know that it's true, that he was killed? You know, if you think the answer is supposed to be no, then you're not doing the work. The work is not about guessing.
Then yes.
Good. And how do you react when you believe the thought? My brother was killed in Afghanistan.
There's no more reason to live. I just think about my mom and my sister and my dad, and I just totally go into their lives.
So you get images of a devastated family. Mm-hmm. And you helpless to do anything about it.
Yeah.
So close your eyes, watch.
I see him getting his body blown to bits. I see him, blood sort of coming out of his mouth. I see my mom crying.
As you're experiencing those images, describe your feelings.
Heartache, just a really emptiness, panic, disgust, anger.
With your eyes closed, sitting in that same chair, who would you be without the thought, my brother died? Who would you be without your story? You see the image of you sitting there? Are you okay?
Yeah, I first want to say I am allowing myself to be joyful, to just appreciate the color of the rug on the wall.
So, in that experience, is it your brother's death that's causing the pain, or what you're believing?
What I'm believing.
It is so good to know that brothers can die and you're okay. Let's turn it around. My brother died. Turn it around.
I died. I can find that one very easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your life died, as you knew it to be, because now it's filled with your mother's sadness in your mind. So life as you have known it. Look around. What has changed other than what you're believing?
I don't get as many emails, but I do watch a heck of a lot of his videos that I never would have seen.
Well, less emails, more of him.
Yeah.
Can you find another turnaround?
He didn't die.
Okay, so examples of that?
Well, we got a letter from him 4 months later after he
Wow,
died.
amazing.
I can feel him in my heart more than I ever have. It's amazing.
I invite you to open to it and let it kill you.
Yeah.
Not to ever fear it, or just to notice when you fear it. I love to say that love will kill anything unlike itself. It just blows it into the nothingness that it is. Let's look at the next one.
He shouldn't have gone to that fucking war.
How do you react when you think the thought, he shouldn't have gone to that war?
It's my fault. If I had been nicer to him, if I hadn't left Seattle, if I had stayed with him, he wouldn't have gone. I blame myself, I blame the world,
Other people?
my father and my mother, very, very much so. Yeah, I just replay the images of growing up and how it should have been and what happened, what I perceive, and how that makes sense to me as being.
So whatever you have to believe to blame his death on someone, on something other than it just is, and that's enough. And if you look at it, that is, the suffering. And we try not to do it, we try to stop it, but as long as we believe that, those images have to be there so that we can continue to believe them. That's how it works. He shouldn't have gone to that war. Turn it around.
He should have gone to that war.
Examples?
He wanted to go to that war.
Well, so other than you dictating his life, he got to live life as he thought best. Let's look at the next one.
I want Jason to be alive.
Is that true? Are you sure? Why do you want those people you love to be alive? For you.
Yeah.
It's not about them, is it? It's all about you.
So no.
How do you react when you think the thought, I want my brother to be alive?
I'm mad at him. I think he's selfish. He knew he was gonna die if he went there.
Who would you be without that thought? I want him to be alive.
I would listen to what his letter said, which was, I want to be here, and if I die, I couldn't be happier. On his MySpace page, there's a thing that says, how do you want to die? That's one of those questionnaires, and he says, bleeding out next to my friends. That's how he died.
If the universe is friendly, why is there death? Why is that a good thing for him?
I think that he's in a beautiful place.
Well, I wouldn't begrudge that. What else?
For me, I've experienced so much faith and joy and serenity and pain and hell as well, but I had no idea what it would feel like to lose someone like this in my life. It's been a gift.
This is such an act of courage. When you're looking at these examples of your turnarounds, why is it good for him? Why is it good for me? Why is it good for our family? Why is it good for the world? You know, there's no accident in the world, and I've come to see everything happens for us, not to us. And you say that, but can you do this? You know, again, death has such a terrible reputation. And it's so kind if your mind is open to it. When you get over the fact they're not here for me. You know, as Steve said earlier, using people as a fix to feel good. You know, the ultimate is, can you feel good without using us? And to step into that, you know, into that state of gratitude where you really understand beyond what you think you're even capable of, gratitude for that person's life. It is not a little thing, death. But what we can be is generous enough to receive the gift of this life and the gift of this death.
My brother died when he was 31, and that was a good thing because he would be paraplegic. So he saved us, his wife actually, the trouble of having to take care of him. So that was a very good thing. And also because it was the only time that my whole life experienced my father not drinking. For the 6 months after his death, my father was so shocked that someone so young, so strong could die in such a manner. It was the only thing that took my father out of drinking. And I got to experience the father that I wish I had had my whole life for at least 6 months, thanks to my brother.
There is nothing that happens that isn't for you, for your enlightenment, for your freedom. And I invite you not to believe me, of course, but to test it for yourself.
I still remember the moment when I was about 8 years old, and my mother, who we found out later suffers from chronic depression, turned to me and said, "You're a hateful, hateful girl." And that immediately, I took it in. And after that, it was like, before that, I had been clear, and after that, there was this black stain on me that I could never get rid of. But what I want to say is, after I grew up and had kids, I have a little daughter. Well, she's 19 now, but when she was about 4 years old, and she must have been that young because I remember her exact words, she did something that irritated me, and I said, "You're a bad girl." And she turned to me, and her eyes were like flashing anger at me, and she said, "I'm not a bad girl, I'm a good girl." And after I picked my jaw up from hitting the floor, I suddenly realized I had that option too. All this time I could have been saying that. And she had the wisdom at 4 years old to tell me that.
Yeah. Thank you. Wow. Loving what is to love your state of mind. You love your state of mind. That is what's projecting the world. Love what you think, love what you see. It has to be. Hate what you think, hate the world.
I'm sad about the polar bears that are starving.
Yes, I can see. Just this topic is bringing you to tears.
Sad about the raccoons in my backyard. Afraid they're going to attack my cats.
Can you hear this? What happens to you right here, right now, when you think the thought the polar bears are starving?
I try try not to think it. And I don't want to see pictures of them. And I get depressed intense, so in my whole life I'm constantly trying not to be sad.
So you think the thought, that's a concept, and then the images happen, and then your emotions happen out of the images. Are those real polar bears, or is that an image?
As far as I know, they're real.
They're in your head.
Well, okay, there are ones in my head, but then there are the real ones.
You're in Southern California.
Yeah, but then there
Those
are the real
images-
ones.
I'm not trying to talk you out of the polar bears are starving.
I know, but...
Are they reality or fantasy?
Well, they're real images. Okay, they're real
Thank you.
images.
They're images.
They're images, okay, yeah, they're real images.
Get it?
No, I don't
Those
get
are
it.
images.
Yeah, but then there are the real ones.
We've taken care of them. They're starving. Is it true? Yes, we've owned it.
Okay.
Yes, you're sad, but not until you witness the movie in your head.
True.
Very good. When we think the thought the polar bears are starving, you know, we go to Google and we find out where we can support the polar bears. But can we do all of that without the sadness? Can we do it out of a state of gratitude and clarity and full-heartedness and ownership?
Okay. I can do it with $25.
So why are you so sad?
That doesn't
You're
help.
doing your part.
Well, but I can't take care of everything. That's the problem.
What? What's the matter with you?
I know. I'm an ex-therapist.
All the therapists I talked to got into the business because they just want to help people. And they want to find freedom for themselves. And what better way than to serve others? And we're doing the best that we can do when you consider what we're believing.
What should I believe?
Nothing I could tell you. But as you answer these questions, as I ask them,
Yeah.
and it feels right, trust that.
Okay.
Who would you be without your story?
Oh, less sad. Happy. Relaxed. More available.
With the thought, sadness. Without the thought, happy. You know, a lot of you would feel guilty. Like, who would you be without the thought the polar bears are starving? I can't desert the polar bears. You know, I've got to think of them every moment. That's my job. You know, I'm starving, starving, starving. Polar bears, starving, starving. You know, I've got to suffer here. My job is to suffer. The polar bears, the polar bears, the polar bears are starving. Then there's the raccoons.
I try to feed the raccoons in the front yard so that they won't attack the cats that are stray in the backyard.
Can you find another turnaround? The polar bears are starving. But I.
I am starving.
Tell me about that. What are you starving for?
I'm not a therapist anymore, and I don't have a new something to focus on.
Purpose.
Purpose. I am starving for a purpose.
Look at you. You're surviving that starvation.
Okay.
It's not pleasant for you, but you're surviving, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So why wouldn't the polar bears be at least as enlightened as you are?
What do you mean? They're starving and they're okay?
Well, you're starving and you're okay. They're in more pain than you are.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Absolutely no.
So feel that. Have you ever seen a polar bear in person, close up?
Just a stuffed one.
So try this turnaround. The polar bears are suffering more than I am. Turned around, I am suffering more than the polar bears. Now, example.
I probably worry more than they do. Maybe. They probably don't think about the raccoons. That's really true.
So let's turn it around. I want the polar bears to be okay.
Oh, okay. But I want to be okay.
You can take all of that and put it on you, because you're the one that needs it right now. Because there are no polar bears in your area right now.
I feel like I don't have a right to be okay until the polar bears are okay.
You don't have a right to be okay when the polar bears are suffering. Is that true?
No.
If they're worthy of the end of suffering, aren't you?
I don't know.
Well, find out.
I don't think I can find out right now. So should I just be happy?
I don't think the polar bears would mind. I don't think they'd mind at all. Happiness is a guilt-free experience. So turn it around.
Yeah, I do deserve to be happy, even if the polar bears are not.
The next one.
Polar bears are beautiful, amazing, dangerous, and unknown.
Turn it around. And own it. I am.
I am beautiful, amazing,
Slow
dangerous,
it down.
and unknown. No, I
One
don't
at a
really want to
time.
slow it down.
What do you find beautiful about you?
Well, I think I'm beautiful in some ways.
Specifics.
I was thinking of the trees.
You appreciate trees.
I do. Yeah, I'm good at appreciating things.
I
can
have one.
connect with people sometimes. You have one?
I do. What's really beautiful about you is you care.
I do care. So if I got the sadness out of it all and I still cared, that would be cool.
Who would I be without my story? To go back and to check it out without having to be right, without having to win. This is my freedom I'm talking about. You could lose your whole identity following the simple directions. You know that story you've told all your life? All your life. That's your identity. And I'm not saying that it didn't happen. It's just really, really for your own sake. I invite you to go back with all of the emotions, with all of it. And it doesn't matter if you were tied down and raped and raped and raped and raped and raped. I have worked with people who have been tortured with electricity and all kinds of violence. And the one thing they have in common is projecting what was going to happen next was more painful than anything that happened. They're the experts. I trust them. And I trust my own experience. Projection. If you want terror, get a future. And until you take care of the past, you're going to project that as the future, and you're going to up it a few amps. That's how it works. That's how the mind stays identified. It's how you remain as the illusion of you. And it's not right or wrong. When we love ourselves, you know, the dream it's so sweet. It's so sweet. Imagination is everything. There's nothing that it's not. But then there's like what I call a first generation to go back and to really understand the way of it without superimposing your story on it. That's why the truth is so powerful. It really is the truth that sets us free. But not our truth, your own. That's the one. That's the one. That's the love of your life.